The reason alien commanders dread human ships that broadcast their location to enemies. Part 1. Captain Eric Morgan stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance, staring at the message on his screen. He read it again, sure there must be some mistake. "Captain, is everything okay?" Lieutenant Susan Wright asked from her tactical station. Eric looked up, his face serious. "Fleet Command has sent new orders. We are to proceed to the border of Exalian space as planned, but..." He paused, still finding the orders hard to believe. "We are to disengage all stealth systems and openly broadcast our location during the entire mission." The bridge fell silent. Every crew member knew this violated basic space warfare principles they had followed for decades. Susan stepped forward. "Sir, that's suicide. The Exalians will detect us immediately." "Those are our orders, Lieutenant," Eric said, though his voice revealed he shared her concern. "We're to investigate the disappearance of our research vessels near their territory, while making absolutely no attempt to hide our presence." Commander Jack Powell, the ship's executive officer, moved beside Eric and lowered his voice. "This makes no tactical sense, sir. We should request clarification." Eric nodded. "Already did. Admiral Collins wants to speak with me privately in 10 minutes. He turned to address the bridge crew. "Until then, maintain current course and speed. We'll reach the border in 6 hours." In his quarters, Eric activated the secure communication system. The stern face of Admiral Peter Collins appeared on screen. "I assume you're calling about your new orders, Captain Morgan," the Admiral said, without greeting. "Yes, sir. With respect, broadcasting our location to the Exalians seems like an unnecessary risk." Admiral Collins leaned forward. "This isn't a mistake, Captain. It's a classified strategy called Protocol Lighthouse. Only 5 people in Fleet Command know the full details. May I ask what we're trying to accomplish by announcing our presence to a potentially hostile force?" The Admiral's expression remained unchanged. "Sometimes the bait needs to look appetizing, Captain." "Bait, sir?" Eric asked, not liking the sound of that. "You've been chosen because the Defiance received certain modifications during its last refit. Modifications not listed in any official documentation." Eric felt a chill. "My crew and I weren't informed of any special modifications." "That was intentional. Chief Engineer Martinez might have noticed some unusual power routing systems. If she has, tell her it's classified. If not, let her discover it naturally. Admiral, I can't lead my crew into potential combat without understanding our tactical position." Collins sighed. "Very well. The Exalians have been probing our defenses for months. They think we're technologically inferior. Protocol Lighthouse is designed to change that perception permanently." He paused. "You'll be broadcasting your location, but you won't be defenseless. Trust me on this, Morgan. Just follow your orders and alert me when the Exalians make contact. They will." The communication ended, leaving Eric with more questions than answers. Back on the bridge, Eric found his crew watching him expectantly. "Orders stand," he announced. "We proceed to the border and broadcast our location as instructed." "Did the Admiral explain why?" Susan asked. "Partially. It's called Protocol Lighthouse. Beyond that, it's classified." 6 hours later, the Defiance crossed into the disputed region. As ordered, all stealth systems were disengaged, and they began broadcasting standard identification signals that any Exalian scanning system could detect. "This feels wrong," Susan muttered at her tactical station. "Like walking into dark woods, while shouting and carrying a flashlight." "Sometimes the unexpected move is the right one," Eric replied, though he didn't sound convinced. An hour into their patrol, Chief Engineer Kelly Martinez called the bridge. "Captain, could you come to engineering? There's something you should see." In the engine room, Kelly pointed to an open panel revealing unusual circuitry. "These modifications aren't in any ship schematic. They were installed during our last maintenance cycle at Earth Station Alpha. They're tied into our broadcast systems and main power grid." Eric studied the unfamiliar technology. "Have you determined their purpose?" "Not exactly, but they're drawing power constantly. Whatever they're doing, they activated when we started broadcasting our location." She lowered her voice. "Captain, is there something about this mission you're not telling us?" "It's called Protocol Lighthouse, that's all I can say for now." Kelly looked unsatisfied but nodded. Well, these systems are functioning properly, whatever they are, but I'd like permission to run some passive scans, just so I understand what we're working with. Granted, but keep your findings between us, for now. When Eric returned to the bridge, Communications Officer Daniel Grant was waiting with news. Sir, we're picking up Exalian communications approximately 500,000 kilometers from our position. They're discussing our presence. Are they sending ships to investigate? Yes, sir. 3 vessels, scout class based on their signatures. Eric took his command chair. All stations, yellow alert. Standard defensive screens only. Make no aggressive moves. Susan looked up from tactical. Sir, shouldn't we at least ready weapons? Not yet, Lieutenant. Let's see how this plays out. Over the next hour, the Exalian scouts approached cautiously. They maintained formation at a distance of 50,000 kilometers, just watching. Daniel listened to his communications equipment. Sir, they're reporting back to their command. They seem confused by our behavior. I imagine they are, Eric said. The main screen activated unexpectedly, showing the face of an Exalian officer. The insectoid features were arranged in what humans had learned was an expression of superiority. Human vessel, the Exalian said in accented English. You have entered disputed territory. Identify yourself and your purpose. Eric stood. This is Captain Eric Morgan of the Earth Fleet vessel Defiance. We are conducting a search for missing research ships in this sector. The Exalian's mandibles clicked. While broadcasting your location? Even humans are not usually so foolish. We have nothing to hide, Eric replied calmly. Perhaps you simply have nothing worth concealing, the Exalian said. Remain where you are. Our commander wishes to speak with you. The screen went dark. Sir, Susan reported, the scouts are moving to surround us. Classic containment formation. Eric nodded. Let them. Daniel looked up from his console. Captain, I'm detecting much larger energy signatures coming from deeper in Exalian space. I think their main battle group is moving to intercept. As expected, Eric said quietly. Jack approached his captain. Sir, with all due respect, what exactly are we doing here? We're outnumbered and broadcasting our position like a target at a shooting range. Eric looked around at his concerned crew. I don't have all the answers yet, but Admiral Collins was very clear. We're not as vulnerable as we appear. He straightened his uniform. Sometimes you need to show your cards to get your opponent to show theirs. As the Exalian ships closed in, Eric wondered if the Admiral's confidence was justified. Whatever Protocol Lighthouse was, they were about to find out if it worked. The reason alien commanders dread human ships that broadcast their location to enemies, Part 2 Fleet. Commander Zakvash stood tall among his fellow Exalians on the bridge of the battlecruiser Relentless Claw. His exoskeleton gleamed under the ships, lights as he studied the holographic display showing a single human vessel. They broadcast their location without hiding, Zakvash said, his mandibles clicking with suspicion. Either they are fools, or this is a trap. Sub-Commander Texlack approached, cautiously. The vessel is identified as the Defiance. Our database shows it is a standard human warship, 5th class. Not their strongest. What weapons does it carry? Standard human pulse cannons and shield generators. Nothing our ships cannot handle with ease, Texlack reported. But still, this behavior is unusual. Zakvash tapped his clawed fingers against the command console. The humans claim they search for missing research vessels. Do we know anything about this? Texlack's antennae twitched nervously. 3 human ships disappeared in this sector over the past 30 days. Our patrols found no trace of them. Did we destroy them? No, Commander. We observed them, but took no action as ordered. Zakvash studied the human ship's specifications again. The Defiance was indeed no match for his battlecruiser. Even the 3 scout ships he had sent could likely disable it if they attacked together. There are stories, Texlack said quietly, from our border patrols. They say humans sometimes use unusual tactics that do not follow standard military logic. Superstitions, Zakvash dismissed with a wave. Humans rely on diplomacy because they lack true strength. Their technology is inferior to ours. He made his decision. Our scout ships will continue to surround the human vessel. I will speak with their captain myself. Then we will capture their ship. The High Command will reward us for bringing them human technology and prisoners to question. The main screen activated, showing a human male with short brown hair and determined eyes. I am Fleet Commander Zakavash of the Exalian Empire, he announced. You have entered territory claimed by our people. The human nodded respectfully. Captain Eric Morgan of the USS Defiance. As I told your scout ships, we're searching for missing research vessels. While announcing your presence to all who might listen, do you think we believe such foolishness? We have nothing to hide, Commander. Zakavash studied the human's face. Their species was difficult to read, with their soft features and lack of proper sensory appendages. Still, he detected no fear. You will power down your engines and prepare to be boarded, Zakavash ordered. If you cooperate, your crew will not be harmed. The human captain showed no reaction. I'm afraid I can't do that, Commander. We are on a peaceful mission within disputed space, not Exalian territory. We have the right to continue our search. Rights? Zakavash clicked his mandibles in what humans would recognize as laughter. Rights are claimed by the strong and granted to the weak. You are alone, Captain. My battle group approaches. You cannot escape. We're not trying to escape. Something in the human's calm confidence made Zakavash uncomfortable. He cut the transmission. Prepare boarding parties, he ordered. I want that ship captured intact. As the Exalian battle group moved closer to the Defiance, activity on the human vessel increased. Aboard the Defiance, Eric returned to his command chair. Status report. 3 scout ships in containment formation around us, Susan reported from Tactical. And long-range sensors show 8 larger vessels approaching, 1 battle cruiser and 7 destroyers. They intend to capture us, not destroy. Us, Eric said. That's good. Jack Powell looked at his captain with concern. Good, sir? It means we'll have time to see if Protocol Lighthouse works before they start shooting to kill, Daniel called from communications. Captain, I've intercepted their internal transmissions. Their commander doesn't believe we're really looking for missing ships. He thinks we're either stupid or setting a trap. Smart alien, Eric said with a slight smile. Chief Engineer Kelly Martinez entered the bridge, her face flushed with excitement. Captain, I've discovered something about those modifications. Go ahead, Chief. The system creates quantum links with any vessel that scans us. The more they scan, the stronger the link becomes. It's like, she searched for simple words, like invisible threads connecting our ship to theirs. And what can we do with these threads? Eric asked. I'm not entirely sure yet, but the system seems designed to access their power grid somehow. It's building energy in our new auxiliary core. She handed him a data pad. These readings are off the charts. Eric studied the information. How long until the Exalian main force reaches us? 20 minutes at their current speed, Susan answered. Chief, how long do you need to figure out the full capabilities of this system? Kelly thought for a moment. Give me 15 minutes in engineering. You've got it. Keep me updated. As Kelly left, Eric turned to his first officer. Jack, if this goes wrong, we need an escape route. Even with our enhanced engines, we can't outrun their entire battle group. Jack nodded. I'll plot several options, sir. The minutes ticked by slowly. The Exalian scouts maintained their position, occasionally scanning the Defiance with increasing intensity. Daniel listened to his earpiece. Sir, they're discussing boarding procedures. They plan to disable our engines first, then send troops through our main airlock. Let me know when their main force is 5 minutes out, Eric said calmly. Kelly's voice came over the intercom. Captain, I've figured it out. The quantum links allow us to temporarily hijack their power systems. We can shut down their weapons, engines, shields, anything connected to their main power grid. Any downsides we should know about? Eric asked. The system creates a massive energy surge in our new core. I don't know how many times we can activate it before causing damage to our own systems. Understood, stand by. Susan called out, Sir, the Axalian vessels are powering up weapons. Scouts are moving to attack positions. Yellow alert, Eric ordered. Defensive shields only. Jack looked worried. Sir, shouldn't we go to red alert? Prepare all weapons? Not yet, Eric said, his eyes on the main screen where the approaching Axalian battle group was now visible. Lieutenant Wright, be ready to activate Protocol Lighthouse on my mark. Susan looked confused. Sir? I don't have controls for any system called Protocol Lighthouse. Eric pointed to a new control panel that had appeared on her console. You do now. The Axalian scout ships moved closer, their weapons hot. Captain, Daniel said urgently, they're firing. Energy beams shot from all 3 scout ships, hitting the Defiance's shields. The ship shuddered slightly. Shields holding at 92%, Susan reported, surprised by their resilience. Eric stood from his chair. Lieutenant Wright, initiate Lighthouse. Susan pressed the new control. For a moment nothing seemed to happen. Then a wave of energy pulsed outward from the Defiance, invisible to the naked eye but clear on their sensors. On the screen, all 3 Axalian scout ships suddenly went dark, their lights and engines shutting down simultaneously. What just happened? Jack asked. Eric smiled grimly. We showed our cards. The reason alien commanders dread human ships that broadcast their location to enemies. Part 3. Silence filled the bridge of the Defiance as everyone stared at the main screen. The 3 Axalian scout ships floated lifeless in space, with only faint emergency lights visible. Report, Eric ordered, breaking the moment of stunned quiet. Susan checked her readings. All 3 scout ships have lost main power. Their weapons, engines, and shields are offline. Life support systems appear to be functioning at minimal levels. Are their crews alive? Eric asked. Daniel adjusted his communications equipment. I'm picking up internal communications. They're alive but confused. They don't understand what happened. What did just happen? Jack asked, looking at his captain with new respect. Eric tapped his console. Kelly, can you join us on the bridge? A few moments later, Chief Engineer Kelly Martinez arrived, looking both excited and worried. It worked better than I expected, she said. Explain what it is, Eric requested. The whole crew deserves to know now. Kelly nodded. Protocol Lighthouse uses quantum entanglement technology. When we broadcast our location, we weren't just sending out a signal. We were creating quantum links with any ship that scanned us. The more they examined us, the stronger the links became. She pointed to the disabled scout ships. Those links let us temporarily access their power systems. We essentially told their ships to shut down everything except basic life support. Could we have destroyed them completely? Susan asked. Probably, Kelly admitted. But the system seems designed to disable rather than destroy. Jack looked troubled. So we're using experimental technology that none of us understood until today? Welcome to Protocol Lighthouse, Eric said. Now we need to prepare for the main battle group. They'll be in range in 10 minutes. On the Axalian battle cruiser, chaos erupted as Fleet Commander Zach Vash received reports of his scout ships going silent. What do you mean all systems failed? He demanded, smashing his clawed fist against his command chair. 3 ships cannot lose power simultaneously. The readings are clear, Commander, an officer reported, antennae quivering with fear. One moment our scouts were functional. The next they lost all power except emergency life support. The human ship emitted some kind of energy pulse just before this occurred. Zikavash turned to Sub-Commander Tixlak. You said their weapons were standard. According to our intelligence, they are, Tixlak replied defensively. This is unprecedented. Contact the human vessel, Zakavash ordered. Captain Morgan's face appeared on screen, calm and collected. Commander Zakavash, I see you're still approaching with your battle group. What have you done to my scout ships? Zakavash demanded. We temporarily disabled them, Eric answered simply. Your crews are unharmed. This is an act of war, Eric raised an eyebrow. Your scouts fired first, Commander. We defended ourselves. With minimal force, we could have destroyed them. Zakavash felt his rage build. You expect me to believe a single human vessel could destroy 3 Axalian warships? The evidence is floating in front of you. Eric replied. I suggest you retrieve your scout ships and withdraw from this area. You dare to threaten me? Zikavash. Cut the transmission. He turned to his bridge crew. Prepare all weapons. We will show these humans what true power looks like. Back on the Defiance, Eric turned to his crew. They're not backing down. Prepare for a much bigger confrontation. Sir, Kelly said hesitantly, there's something you should know. The quantum core showed significant strain after disabling just 3 ships. Attempting to disable their entire battle group might overload our systems. How many ships can we handle at once? Eric asked. Kelly shook her head. Hard to say. Maybe 3 or 4 more before risking core damage. Definitely not all 8 at once. Eric considered this information. We need a plan to divide their forces. Susan studied her tactical display. The battlecruiser will likely stay back while the destroyers attack first. If we can disable the destroyers in small groups, we might convince the commander to retreat. Good thinking, Eric agreed. Daniel, open a channel to Admiral Collins. He needs to know what we're facing. Minutes later, Admiral Collins appeared on Eric's private screen. Report, Captain. Protocol lighthouse works, sir. We've disabled 3 scout ships without destroying them. But we're facing an entire battle group now, and our engineer says the system can't handle them all at once. Collins nodded. As expected. Your mission was to demonstrate the technology, not win a full-scale battle. Help is on the way. Help? Sir? Eric asked, surprised. The USS Vigilance and USS Dauntless are cloaked and positioned 12 minutes from your location. They've been observing. Once you've demonstrated lighthouse against their main force, they'll decloak to support you. Eric felt relief mixed with frustration. You knew we'd be outnumbered and didn't tell me? We needed authentic reactions from your crew, Captain. The Exalians might have detected deception otherwise. Collins checked something off screen. The Vigilance and Dauntless are not equipped with lighthouse technology. They're there as backup only. Understood, sir. Morgan, out. Eric returned to the bridge as the Exalian battle group entered weapon range. The 7 destroyers had formed an attack formation, while the battlecruiser remained behind them. They're splitting up, Susan reported. 3 destroyers approaching, from port, 2 from starboard, 2 from above. They're trying to attack from multiple angles to divide our defenses, Jack observed. Eric nodded. Classic maneuver. Let them get closer. The bridge crew watched nervously as the Exalian destroyers closed in. At 5,000 kilometers, all 7 ships opened fire simultaneously. The Defiance rocked as energy beams struck their shields. Shields at 75%, Susan reported. They're hitting us hard, sir. Return fire with conventional weapons, Eric ordered. Target the closest 3 destroyers. The Defiance's pulse cannons fired, striking the approaching ships. Their shields absorbed most of the damage, but 1 destroyer showed signs of shield weakening. Sir, their battlecruiser is moving into firing position, Daniel warned. Eric made his decision. Kelly, is the quantum core ready for another activation? Yes, Captain, but I recommend targeting no more than 4 ships. Target the 3 destroyers to port and the battlecruiser, Eric ordered. Lieutenant Wright, activate. Lighthouse. Susan pressed the control. Again, the invisible pulse of energy radiated outward. The 3 targeted destroyers immediately went dark, drifting powerless in space. But the battlecruiser, further away, only flickered momentarily before its system stabilized. Partial effect on the battlecruiser, Kelly reported from engineering. Their main weapons are offline, but engines and shields remain functional. On the Exalian battlecruiser, Zikavash gripped his command console as systems failed around him. What is happening? He shouted as his weapons officer reported all offensive. Systems offline. Unknown energy affecting our power grid. An engineer replied. We've lost weapons control but managed to isolate other critical systems. Zikavash watched in disbelief as 3 more of his destroyers drifted powerless. How could 1 human ship do this? Sir, Texlac said urgently. Sensors detecting 2 new energy signatures. Ships decloaking to port and starboard of our position. As Zikavash watched, 2 human warships appeared from nowhere, their weapons trained on his remaining forces. On the Defiance, Eric allowed himself a small smile as the USS Vigilance and USS Dauntless decloaked nearby. "Open a channel to Commander Zekvash," he ordered. The Exalian commander's face appeared, mandibles twitching with rage and fear. "This was your plan all along," Zekvash said bitterly. "To lure us into a trap." "Not a trap, Commander," Eric replied. "A demonstration. The reason alien commanders dread human ships. That broadcast their location to enemies." Part 4. Zekvash stared at the human captain on his screen, struggling to understand what was happening. 6 of his ships were now powerless, including 3 destroyers, and all 3 scout ships. His battlecruiser had lost weapons but maintained other systems. Only 4 destroyers remained fully operational. "A demonstration?" Zekvash repeated, his voice a mix of anger and confusion. "What are you demonstrating, human?" "That we are not the technologically inferior species you believe us to be," Captain Morgan replied calmly. "We could have destroyed your ships. Instead, we chose to disable them temporarily." The Exalian commander's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. "This is some trick, some deception." "No trick, Commander. Just technology your intelligence reports didn't know about." Eric paused. "Your crew members are unharmed. In approximately 6 hours, your disabled ships will regain power automatically. You can tow them back to your territory before then if you prefer." Before Zekvash could respond, Eric continued, "I suggest you withdraw your remaining forces. We are still searching for our missing research vessels and would prefer to do so peacefully." Zekvash cut the transmission. He turned to Sub-Commander Texlac. "Options?" Texlac's antennae drooped slightly. "We are outmatched, Commander. The human ships have us surrounded. Even if we concentrated all remaining firepower on one vessel, the others would disable us before we could destroy it. Retreat is unacceptable," Zekvash hissed. "With respect, Commander, so is suicide," Texlac replied. "The High Command must be informed of this new human technology. If we are all destroyed or captured, this information will not reach them." Zekvash knew his sub-commander was right, but the thought of retreat burned like acid. "Prepare to withdraw. Have our operational destroyers lock tractor beams on the disabled vessels." On the bridge of the Defiance, Eric watched as the remaining Exalian ships began to retreat, towing their disabled comrades. "They're leaving, sir," Susan reported, sounding relieved. "For now," Eric said. "But this isn't over." The communications panel chimed. "Captain Admiral Collins is requesting an update," Daniel announced. "Put him through to the main screen," Eric ordered. "The whole crew deserves to hear this." Admiral Collins appeared, his expression serious but satisfied. "Well done, Defiance. The demonstration was successful." "Thank you, sir," Eric replied. "But I have questions that my crew deserves answers to." Collins nodded. "I expected as much. Go ahead. What exactly is Protocol Lighthouse? The full story this time." The Admiral leaned back in his chair. 6 months ago, we discovered that 3 of our research vessels had been destroyed by Exalian forces, despite our diplomatic agreements. The Exalians denied involvement, claiming the ships must have suffered technical failures. But we knew the truth," Collins continued. "Our intelligence indicated the Exalians were testing our defenses, seeing how we would respond. They believed their technology was superior, and were preparing for possible military action against our colonies. So Protocol Lighthouse was developed as a response," Eric guessed. "Yes. Rather than matching their firepower, which would have led to a destructive arms race, our scientists developed a way to render their weapons useless. The quantum entanglement technology allows us to temporarily hijack their power systems without destroying their ships." Kelly spoke up from her engineering station. "Admiral, the system puts enormous strain on our quantum core. We can't possibly disable an entire fleet." "You're right, Chief Martinez. Each lighthouse ship can only affect a limited number of enemy vessels before needing significant repairs. But that's by design." Collins looked around at the confused faces. On the bridge, the goal was never to win a war, it was to prevent one from starting. By showing the Exalians we could neutralize their military advantage, Eric realized. Precisely. And by intentionally broadcasting your position, showing that we don't need to hide, we send a powerful message. Susan frowned. But sir, now that they know about this technology, won't they develop countermeasures? Eventually, perhaps. But it will take them years. By then, we hope to have established a more peaceful relationship. This demonstration was meant to encourage them to choose diplomacy over conflict. Jack Powell crossed his arms. With all due respect, Admiral, you put this ship and crew at significant risk without full disclosure. Collins nodded. I did, and I would do it again. Your authentic reactions were crucial to selling this demonstration. If the Exalians had detected any hint that you expected to win this confrontation, they might have suspected a trap and held back their forces. What about our missing research vessels? Eric asked. There are no missing vessels, Captain. That was cover for your mission. The bridge fell silent as the crew processed this information. Sir, Daniel called out suddenly, we're receiving a transmission from the Exalian battlecruiser. On screen, Eric ordered. Kavash appeared again. Captain Morgan, before we depart, I have one question. Go ahead, Commander. If your vessels can selectively disable power systems without destroying the ships, why reveal this capability? You have sacrificed tactical advantage. Eric glanced at Admiral Collins, who nodded slightly. Because we don't want war, Commander, Eric answered honestly. We want you to understand that attacking human ships or colonies would be futile. We prefer cooperation to conflict. Kavash studied the human captain for a long moment. Perhaps the High Command has misjudged your species. The transmission ended. Admiral Collins addressed the Defiance crew again. Your ship needs to return to Earth Station Alpha for repairs. The quantum core won't survive another activation. What about the Exalians? Eric asked. They're still in the area with 4 operational destroyers. The Vigilance and Dauntless will remain to monitor them. You've done your part, Captain. Bring your ship home. As the Admiral's image disappeared, Eric turned to his crew. You heard the man. Set course for Earth Station Alpha. Kelly spoke up from her station. Captain, I've been monitoring the quantum core. There's something you should know. What is it, Chief? The damage is more extensive than I initially thought. The core is showing signs of instability. Eric frowned. Can we make it back to Earth Station Alpha? Yes, but we shouldn't risk any more quantum events. Another activation could cause a cascade failure. Understood. Maintain yellow alert until we're clear of this sector. As the Defiance prepared to depart, Jack approached his captain. One ship broadcasting its location to lure in enemies, knowing it has a secret weapon. It's quite a strategy. It is, Eric agreed. Do you think it worked? Will the Exalians actually choose diplomacy now? Eric watched as the Exalian ships grew smaller on the screen. I don't know. But we've given them something new to consider. Fear? Jack suggested. Respect, Eric corrected. Sometimes the best way to prevent a fight is to show your opponent that starting one would be a mistake. The Defiance turned away from the Exalian ships and engaged its engines, leaving the demonstration behind but carrying its message forward. The reason alien commanders dread human ships that broadcast their location to enemies. Part 2 weeks later, Captain Eric Morgan stood in the observation lounge of Earth Station Alpha, watching as technicians worked on the damaged Defiance through the large window. The quantum core had been removed entirely, and engineers in spacesuits moved around the hull making repairs. Admiral Collins entered the room and stood beside him. The repair crews say she'll be ready in another week. And the quantum core? Eric asked. Being replaced with an improved version, Collins replied. Your mission data helped our scientists make significant upgrades. Eric turned to face the Admiral. Has there been any response from the Exalians? That's actually why I'm here. Collins gestured to the seating area. We should sit down for this. Once seated, Collins activated a small holographic projector. An image appeared showing multiple Exalian ships. 3 days ago, another human ship broadcasting its location entered disputed space. Collins explained. The USS Sentinel under Captain Nicole Foster. Another lighthouse ship? Eric asked. Yes. And the Exalians responded in force. The hologram showed at least 20 ex-alien vessels surrounding a single human ship. They assembled their largest battle group in a decade. Eric leaned forward. What happened? Captain Foster followed the same protocol you did. She allowed them to approach and scan her ship. When they demanded she surrender, she activated Lighthouse. Collins manipulated the hologram, showing 5 ex-alien ships going dark. She disabled their lead vessels, but then something unexpected happened. The hologram changed to show the remaining ex-alien ships retreating without firing a shot. They withdrew without engaging, Eric said, surprised. Collins nodded. They recognized what was happening and chose not to fight. But that's not the most interesting part. He adjusted the image again. As they retreated, our long-range sensors detected this. The hologram zoomed out to show 5 more human ships appearing around the edges of the scene. More of our ships? Eric asked. No, Collins said with a slight smile. These were holograms created by the ex-aliens. They were trying to make it look like they had detected cloaked human vessels, similar to the Vigilance and Dauntless in your encounter. Eric sat back, understanding dawning. They thought we had hidden ships supporting the Sentinel, just like with the Defiance, exactly. They assumed any broadcasting human ship must have cloaked escorts nearby. They weren't willing to risk another demonstration of our technology. Eric thought about this. So, they're learning to fear any human ship that openly broadcasts its location. Which is precisely what we wanted, Collins confirmed. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. The Admiral changed the holographic display again, showing an ex-alien diplomatic vessel approaching Earth. Yesterday, we received a formal request for a diplomatic meeting from the ex-alien High Command. They want to discuss border agreements and trade possibilities. They're choosing diplomacy, Eric said. It appears so. Your mission may have prevented a war, Captain. Eric nodded, feeling a mix of pride and concern. But for how long? Once they realize not every broadcasting human ship has the Lighthouse capability or cloaked escorts, we're already one step ahead. Collins turned off the hologram. The Lighthouse technology is being installed on 6 more ships, and we're implementing a new protocol across the fleet. What kind of protocol? All human ships in disputed or potentially hostile space will now periodically broadcast their positions, even those without Lighthouse capability. The enemy won't know which ships can actually disable them and which are bluffing. Eric understood immediately. Creating uncertainty. Precisely. If they can't tell which ships have the technology and which don't, they have to assume any broadcasting. Human ship is dangerous. A young officer entered the observation lounge. Admiral, the ex-alien diplomatic vessel has docked. Their representatives are ready for the preliminary meeting. Thank you, Lieutenant, Collins said, standing. Care to join us, Captain? Your perspective would be valuable. Eric rose. I'd be honored, sir. As they walked toward the diplomatic section of the station, Eric asked, what happens if the ex-aliens develop countermeasures against Lighthouse? They will eventually, Collins acknowledged. But by then we hope to have established a stable peace. Technology isn't our only strategy, Captain. It's just opening the door to dialogue. In the diplomatic conference room, 3 ex-alien representatives waited. Eric was surprised to see Sub-Commander Texlack among them. Captain Morgan, Texlack said, his antennae twitching in what Eric now recognized as a gesture of respect. I did not expect to see you here. Likewise, Sub-Commander, Eric replied. I thought Commander Zikavash would represent your forces. Commander Zikavash has been reassigned, Texlack explained. The High Command felt a new approach was needed in our relations with humans. The diplomatic meeting progressed smoothly, with both sides expressing willingness to establish clear borders and communication protocols to prevent future misunderstandings. As the meeting concluded, Texlack approached Eric privately. May I ask you something, Captain? Of course. The ship that disabled our vessels, was it truly broadcasting its location to demonstrate superior technology, or was there another reason? Eric considered his answer carefully. Sometimes the best way to avoid conflict is to make sure your potential adversaries understand the consequences of starting one. Texlack's mandibles clicked softly. A lesson we have learned. Our intelligence, Suggest you have more ships with this capability now, all broadcasting their positions openly. Eric kept his expression neutral, neither confirming nor denying this information. We also hear rumors, Texlac continued, that not all broadcasting, human ships carry this technology, that some are simply bait. What do you think? Eric asked. I think, Texlac said slowly, that not knowing which human ships can disable us and which cannot creates a problem with no good solution. We must either avoid all human vessels or risk having our entire fleet neutralized. That sounds like a good reason to pursue diplomatic solutions, Eric suggested. Indeed. Texlac made a gesture Eric didn't recognize. There is a saying among my people. The predator that announces its presence is either foolish or fearsome. We now understand which category humans fall into. Later, as Eric returned to his quarters, he received a message from Admiral Collins. Lighthouse protocol is being implemented across our borders, the message read. The word is spreading quickly among alien species. A human ship broadcasting. Its location is now treated with extreme caution by all potential adversaries. Eric smiled as he looked out his window at the stars. Out there, human ships were moving through space with their positions broadcast openly. Some with the power to disable enemy vessels, others simply benefiting from the reputation established by the Defiance, and now the Sentinel. No alien commander could tell which was which, and that uncertainty created peace more effectively than any weapon. The Defiance had done more than complete a mission. It had changed the rules of the game, and somewhere in that vast darkness, other alien races were learning what the Axalians now knew. The species that extends a hand in peace is also the one you should fear most in war. The strange human ships that broadcast their positions weren't vulnerable targets. They were warnings.